Hello, I'm Renee, and I am here to talk to you about, drumroll please, stress. Yes, stress, the thing that makes you scream, it makes you cry, it makes you sometimes sick, and it's something that we all deal with in our everyday lives. Stress, our body's physiological response to any emotional or physical threat. When we as living organisms encounter stress, our bodies physically and chemically react to it. Another good definition is when our body fails to respond appropriately to daily stressors and or traumatic events. So let's get physical. When I was reading the resources, a very good example of stress popped up out of other examples. And here it is. Physiologist Hans Seal conducted a rat study which led to the theory general adaptation syndrome, the three phases of stress. 1, you have alarm, which is the release of hormones including cortisol, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. Then number 2, resistance. After a period of time, the body adapts to the physical, emotional threat and tries to return to a normal state. This increases glucose levels and raises blood pressure. 3, exhaustion. When the body starts running low on energy and its immunity. Blood sugar sinks, stress intolerance, tiredness, illness, worst case scenario, death. This is a diagram of the HPA axis, the physiological response to stress involving the hypothalamus, which secretes hormones that directs the pituitary glands to release the hormone ACTH. The ACTH hormone directs the adrenal glands to release other hormones, such as what we talked just at my past slide, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone that releases sugar into the blood. And just like our diets, sugar is really not good for the body. So just imagine sugar being released into your blood. Not good. Here is another diagram of the autonomic nervous system. And stress can lead to prolonged or long-term stress, which increases arousal in the sympathetic ANS and causes negative influence on physical health. So in the diagram, you'll see some of our body's organs and what happens when they get aroused and what they do to what it does to our bodies negatively. And then you also have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is, what our organs do to fight back. With prolonged and long-term stress, the HPA axis remains active and continues to produce cortisol, which can lead to fatigue and depression. Weakened immune system, making us more applicable to colds and diseases. Damaged DNA. Cancer is more likely, heart disease risk increases, increased blood pressure, which leads to damaged heart muscles. These could all lead up to possible heart attack or worse, possibly death. So we want to practice positivity, optimism, positive thinking, going about your day-to-day with an open mind, looking at negative influences on our lives in the best way possible, and finding the positive that we can pull out of those stressors. Self-efficacy, believing in ourselves to accomplish what we set our minds to. Constructive thinking, reducing the difficulties that are in our everyday lives. Hardiness, the combination of both optimism and self-efficacy, understanding the causes of negative events using coping strategies. Why manage stress? Well, it's very common to suppress and avoid daily or traumatic stressors. However, denying the stress is the worst choice because number 1, the stressor will not go away. It will resurface. So let it out. Number 2, your body and mind become weaker from stress, which can lead to physical illness and again, possibly death. 3, if unable to control your emotions, your behavior can get out of control, affecting relationships or your work or going to school or your family. Number 4, holding in too much stress can lead to depression, violence, even suicide due to low serotonin levels in the brain. 5, why manage stress? Well, you'll be able to have social relationships where you can open up to others about your difficulties. And, it's always a great feeling to know that you have someone there to talk to and get the things that sit on top, get the things off your chest that just sit there and just pile up like a brick, just sitting on your chest, almost like you're unable to breathe. All right, so, just like me and you, I deal with stressors too. I work from home for the company that I work for, and I process medical claims. And what can happen for me that's stressful is that working from home, I can't just walk up to my colleague and be like, oh, hey, I'm having a hard time, could you help me out? Or if I have an issue going on and I need to get a hold of my manager, I have to go through email. We have a messenger, I have to set up meetings, so like there is a gap in the communication, the interaction with others, which can get very stressful. If like I'm having a hard time, it can't be solved like that. I have to go through my resources to get my answers, which can get pretty stressful, but that's, the cards that I was dealt. And there's also very positive things from working from home. I have more time to focus on my work and figure out my issues and whatnot. So, I mean, like everything else, it has 50-50. It's 50 positive, 50 negative. But always the good overcomes the bad. I used to handle stress like a bomb. I would just let it all build up and I would explode. And what I've done to overcome the holding it in is letting it out and expressing and talking to others and talking to myself even. I recommend that. I mean, I sometimes, if I'm having a hard time, I'll just be like, Renee, it's okay, well, looks like, that person's being a jerk. Well, what are you going to do about it? You're not that person. So a few ways to manage stress, I would say, would be to express, let it out, open up, emotion regulation, controlling our emotions, to help, better our way of thinking and positive thinking. Just like exercising, you can train yourself to handle those situations better by stopping, slowing down, and being like, oh, okay, well, I can go about it this way, and then I can avoid that stressor and not have to deal with it. Focus on being optimistic through negative daily stressors. Emotion regulation, which I just talked about, again, controlling our emotions, like when we should be getting angry and upset, and again, taking a step back and looking at the situation from an outer perspective, trying to find the good in everything. So, and that's what I try to do every day, again, like if you need to just talk to your dog if you have one, look in the mirror, talk to yourself, they only say it's crazy when you're answering yourself. So, it's okay to talk to yourself if you're self-conscious about talking to others about your issues. But there's definitely ways that you can overcome the stressors and the negative influences in life. Awesome. Have a good day.